everyone. Thinking about heading up north? Canada's calling, right?
Yeah, it's a popular spot, that's for sure.
Working, studying, you name it. But you might have heard
There's some changes.
big changes to their immigration policies.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're diving deep today
Absolutely.
into this in-depth analysis for
Yeah.
Canada immigration, just to break down what it all means, you know?
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
For sure.
What's really interesting is this.
Okay.
For the first time ever,
Okay.
Canada's set these like hard targets
Oh.
for temporary residents.
So not just permanent residency?
Not just those seeking
Yeah.
permanent residency, but like foreign workers and international students.
Wow, okay.
So
it's not just
a major show.
it's not just like rolling out the welcome mat anymore. It's more like,
right.
come on in. But
Exactly.
Okay.
Precisely. And get this.
Okay.
They're projecting a drop of nearly 445,000 temporary residents per year.
Wow.
In both 2025 and 2026.
Wow. That's
To put that into perspective,
yeah.
there are about 3 million temporary residents
Oh,
in Canada right now.
That's
So we're talking about
a big chunk.
a significant portion of the population.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
If you're one of the many people considering Canada, I mean, this is
crucial information.
really important to know.
Absolutely.
But it's not just the sheer number, right?
right.
What does this
Exactly.
What does this mean for
It's not a
different types of temporary residents?
size-fits-all situation.
Okay.
So let's start with foreign workers.
Okay.
Those in lower wage sectors, think
Yeah.
agriculture, construction, hospitality.
Yeah.
They're going to feel this
Yeah.
the most.
Right.
These industries
Mm-hmm.
have historically relied
Yeah.
on temporary workers,
Okay.
but that's changing.
So does that mean that the door is slammed shut for those sectors?
Not necessarily slam shut, but
Right.
definitely narrower.
Okay.
Meanwhile, higher wage sectors
Okay.
like healthcare, tech,
Yeah.
and finance
Hmm.
might still have openings,
Yeah.
but competition's going to be fierce.
Okay.
So, example,
Yeah.
the tech industry
Yeah.
is hungry for data scientists and AI specialists. So
Yeah. Right.
even highly qualified applicants
Right.
in those fields will need to stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
It's a totally different ballgame now.
Different ballgame now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for someone with their sights set on working in those fields, it's time to really polish up that resume.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, but what about international students?
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
a big part of the temporary resident picture, too.
And they're facing a new reality as well.
Oh,
We're
yeah?
talking stricter work permit applications,
Okay.
a 10% reduction.
In post-graduation work permits,
Okay.
starting in 2025,
Wow.
and a bigger emphasis
Okay.
on English language proficiency.
Right.
It's not just about getting accepted to a program anymore.
Yeah.
The rules for staying and working after graduation are changing.
So for a student dreaming of building a life in Canada after their studies,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not
Yes.
it's not as straightforward as it used to be.
Not straightforward.
What's driving this shift?
Yeah.
Why is Canada suddenly being so selective?
It's more complex
Okay.
than simply reducing numbers.
Yeah.
Think of it as managing the flow of people
Right.
coming in and out of the country.
Okay.
They're looking at things
Yeah.
like how many temporary residents
Okay.
transition to permanent status each year,
Right.
when permits expire,
Right.
and what the needs are
Okay.
in different sectors.
So trying to find a balance between attracting talent
Right.
and managing the numbers.
Exactly. They're trying to match the inflow of temporary residents
Right.
with the outflow
Okay.
and ensure that the system benefits Canada
yeah.
in the long run.
Okay.
And remember, Canada is still very much
Okay.
open to immigration,
Yeah.
just with a more calculated approach.
Gotcha.
They're still projecting a slight increase
Okay.
in temporary residents in 2027,
Okay.
albeit a small one of around 17,000 people.
Okay, so there's a glimmer of hope
There is a glimmer of
for those set on Canada, but let's be real.
it can be.
Navigating this new system sounds daunting.
Which is why we're breaking it down for you. It's about understanding these changes,
yeah,
making informed decisions, and knowing what to expect.
you're right. So before we get into how to actually tackle this new system,
Okay.
let's talk about the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Permanent residency.
Okay.
What's happening with
Well,
those targets?
Right. let's unpack those. Okay, so we
Yeah.
know the goal is 395,000 new permanent residents in 2025.
Right.
But then it drops
Yeah.
to 380,000 in 2026
Right.
and dips even further to 365,000 in 2027.
Wow. Okay.
So what's the rationale behind this gradual decrease? Is Canada becoming less welcoming
Right.
to immigrants overall?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? On the surface, it might seem like Canada's closing the door, but is
Right.
there more to it?
It's not about shutting people out,
Right.
but rather about recalibrating the system. Canada has always prided itself on being a welcoming nation,
Yeah.
and that hasn't changed. These adjustments are more about fine-tuning the immigration process
Right.
to ensure that it's sustainable
Yeah.
and aligns with Canada's long-term economic and social goals.
So they're not turning their back on immigration, but being more strategic. It's like trying to find a sweet spot between welcoming newcomers
Yeah.
and ensuring that those already in Canada,
Yeah.
particularly temporary residents, right?
Have a clear path to permanent residency
Absolutely.
if they choose to stay.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
It's about creating a system
Yeah.
that works for everyone involved. And keep in mind
Okay.
that while the permanent residency numbers
Yeah.
might be slightly lower in the later years,
Yeah.
they're still significant. Canada is still very much
Okay.
committed to welcoming skilled workers, families, and
Yeah.
refugees.
Okay, so it's not a complete shutdown,
Yeah.
but a shift in priorities. What does this mean for those hoping to make Canada their permanent home?
Well, one key takeaway is that Canada is placing a stronger emphasis
Okay.
on economic immigration.
Oh.
They're prioritizing individuals
Yeah.
who possess the skills and experience
Okay.
to make an immediate contribution to the Canadian economy.
So for someone listening who's thinking, hey, I've got skills,
Right.
I'm ready to work,
Yeah,
Canada might still be a fantastic option,
absolutely.
but with some caveats.
Exactly. Now more than ever.
It's crucial
Right.
to do your homework. Research those in-demand occupations
Yeah.
and make sure your credentials are recognized in Canada.
Okay, so
Think healthcare professionals, tech
Yeah.
workers, engineers,
okay.
those
These high demand fields.
in high-demand fields. And as we mentioned earlier,
Right.
don't underestimate the
Okay.
value
Yeah.
of professional guidance.
Yeah.
An immigration lawyer
Right.
or consultant can be invaluable in navigating the intricacies of the application process.
That makes sense. They can help you cut through the red tape and understand the nuances
Right.
of the system.
Absolutely.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
Right.
There are still avenues for those who are determined to make Canada their home.
Yeah.
But it sounds like preparation and a clear strategy are key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And remember,
Okay.
the Canadian immigration system
Yeah.
is dynamic.
Right.
These targets and policies
Right.
can and likely will
Yeah.
be adjusted over time based on changing economic conditions and global events.
So flexibility and adaptability are key. It's not a one and done
Right.
process. You need to
It's a process. Stay informed.
Yeah.
And adjust your approach as needed. Okay, so we've talked about the numbers,
Right.
the targets, and the
Yeah.
reasons behind these changes. But for someone who's serious
Yeah.
about making the move, what concrete steps can they take to navigate this new reality?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
And one we'll address in our next segment.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
Okay. So we're back, ready to get down to
The nitty gritty.
the brass tacks.
Yes.
We've explored the big picture
Yeah, right.
of Canada's shifting immigration landscape, but now
Yeah.
let's focus on what you, our listener,
Right.
can actually go with all this information.
That's the crucial part.
Yeah.
Knowing the facts is only useful
Right.
if you can apply them
Right.
to your own situation. Exactly. So let's say someone is listening and thinking, okay, Canada still sounds like a possibility, but where do I even start with this new system? What's the first step they should take?
The very first step is to acknowledge that the rules have changed.
Okay.
Don't rely on outdated information or assumptions.
Right.
This is a new ball game,
It's a mindset.
and you need to approach it with fresh eyes.
Check. What comes next?
Next, it's time to roll up your sleeves
Oh.
and do your research.
Okay.
Thoroughly investigate the specific immigration programs
Right.
that match your goals and qualifications.
Okay.
The Canadian government website is a fantastic resource.
Right.
But don't stop there.
Okay.
Explore blogs, follow immigration news, connect with people who have recently gone through the process,
Okay.
their firsthand experiences,
Yeah.
can offer invaluable insights.
So gather as much information as possible
Yeah.
from a variety of sources.
Exactly.
But this can feel overwhelming, right?
It absolutely can be.
Like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, and that's where professional help comes in.
Okay.
Seriously, don't underestimate the value of consulting with an immigration lawyer or consultant.
Right.
They can provide personalized guidance, help you avoid costly mistakes,
Right.
and quite honestly, save you a lot of stress.
It's like having an expert guide leading you through the complex maze of immigration paperwork.
Right.
Right?
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Their expertise can be invaluable
Yeah.
in navigating this process successfully. And while you're gathering information,
Yeah.
don't forget to honestly assess your own profile.
Right.
Are your skills in demand in Canada?
Okay.
Do you meet the language requirements?
Yeah.
Be realistic about your chances.
So no sugarcoating it. Honesty is crucial.
Absolutely. It's far better to adjust your strategy early on
Right.
than face disappointment down the line.
Right.
Yeah.
Solid advice. So be informed, be prepared, be realistic. What other words of wisdom do you have for those who are determined to make Canada their new home?
Don't give up easily. The Canadian immigration process can be long and challenging,
Yeah.
but persistence pays off.
Right.
Stay organized, meet deadlines, and most importantly,
Yeah.
be patient.
Persistence is key.
Yes.
And remember, even though the system is evolving, Canada's core values
Right.
remain strong.
Yeah.
They still value diversity, inclusion, and the
Right.
contributions of immigrants.
That's right.
Yeah.
Canada's story is a story of immigration.
Right.
These changes are simply a new chapter
Yeah.
in that ongoing narrative.
Well said. We've taken a deep dive into Canada's new immigration landscape, exploring the changes, the rationale behind them, and most importantly, how you can navigate this new reality. Knowledge is power, and understanding these shifts is the first step towards making informed decisions about your future.
And as we've emphasized throughout this deep dive,
Right.
adaptability is crucial.
Yeah.
Stay informed, stay flexible, and don't hesitate to seek guidance when needed. The path might look different now, but the destination, a new life in Canada, is still within reach for those who are prepared to put in the effort.
Beautifully put. And as you continue your journey, here's something to consider. We've discussed how these changes aim to balance Canada's labor needs with its commitment to immigration. But what other factors might influence immigration policy in the years to come? Global events, climate change, something entirely different. Keep exploring, keep learning, and as always, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.